Have you ever poured your heart and soul into a prayer, articulating your deepest desires, your most fervent hopes, only to be met with silence? Or worse, a resounding no? A door slams shut where you desperately wanted it to open. A dream you've nurtured for years suddenly crumbles. A path you were certain was yours abruptly disappears beneath your feet. That feeling, that crushing weight of disappointment, the confusion, even the bitter edge of questioning, why God, why not this? It's a universal human experience, isn't it? One that can rattle the very foundations of our faith and leave us feeling lost, perhaps even abandoned. But what if I told you that one of the most profound thinkers and storytellers of the modern age, J.R.R. Tolkien, the brilliant mind who gave us the epic world of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, offers a perspective on these no moments that is not just comforting but utterly transformative? Tolkien, a man who lived through the horrors of 2 world wars, experienced personal loss, and faced academic struggles, didn't just write captivating fantasy. He wove into the very fabric of his mythological world a deep, abiding theological truth about divine providence, about why God might say no, and why that no is never, ever the end of the story. In fact, it's often the unexpected beginning of a far grander one. Join me as we explore Tolkien's profound wisdom on those closed doors and what they truly signify. To truly grasp Tolkien's vision of when God says no, we must delve into the very origins of his created world, Arda, and the cosmic melody that brought it into being. This isn't just a fantasy story. For Tolkien, a devout Catholic, it was a profound act of sub-creation, an attempt to express core truths about God and reality. In his foundational work, The Silmarillion, Tolkien presents the creation myth known as the Ainulindale, the music of the Ainur. Imagine, if you will, a time, before anything existed. There was only Eru Ilúvatar, the one God, the ultimate source of all being. He created celestial beings, spirits, called the Ainur, each imbued with unique gifts and understanding. Eru then presented them with a divine theme, a pure, exquisite melody, and invited them to weave it into a magnificent, harmonious symphony. Think of it, each Ainu adding their voice, their unique musical line, contributing to a breathtaking, ever-unfolding creation. This was the divine design, unfolding in perfect harmony. But among them was Melkor, the most powerful of the Ainur, and also the most prideful. Melkor desired to create music of his own, independent of Eru's theme, to introduce notes and sounds that sprang from his own will, not from the original divine inspiration. He introduced discord, loud and clamorous, seeking to mar the beautiful harmony, to dominate the song with his own will. His notes were harsh, jarring, disrupting the serene flow of the music. Now, pause and consider this. How often do we in our own lives feel this discord? We have our plans, our prayers, our melodies that we want our lives to play. And then, suddenly, a Melkor note enters, a rejection, a failure, a loss, an illness, a betrayal. It feels like a disruption, a spoiling of our perfect song. It feels like a definitive no to our fervent wishes. But here is Tolkien's breathtaking theological revelation embodied in Eru's response. Eru Ilúvatar did not silence Melkor immediately. He did not destroy him. Instead, Eru rose, his countenance grave yet serene, and introduced new themes into the music. Themes so powerful, so beautiful, so intricate, that they absorbed Melkor's discord, weaving it into an even grander, more complex, and ultimately more glorious symphony. Eru's voice resonated, declaring, "No theme may be played that hath not its uttermost source in me, nor can any alter the music in my despite. For he that attempts this shall prove but an instrument in the devising of things more wonderful which he himself had not imagined." This is the core of Tolkien's understanding of when God says no. It is not about God desiring suffering or evil. Melkor's discord is his own rebellion, his own misuse of his free will. But Eru's absolute sovereignty and infinite wisdom mean that even this discord, this apparent no to the original harmony, is not beyond his power to redeem and integrate. God takes what seems like a destructive force, a definitive rejection of our specific prayer or plan, and incorporates it into a larger, more intricate, and ultimately more purposeful narrative. He is the ultimate composer, who can take even the most jarring, unpleasant notes and weave them into a magnificent, redemptive whole that far surpasses anything we could have originally conceived. Think about this concept unfolding throughout Middle-earth. Consider the immense suffering endured by Frodo Baggins on his quest to destroy the One Ring. From the very beginning, his journey is a relentless series of no's. No to a peaceful life in the Shire. No to easy passage. No to allies who falter. No to his own strength as the ring's burden weighs him down. There are moments of despair, of seemingly insurmountable obstacles, of betrayal by those he trusted, like Boromir, or even the unexpected turn of Gollum. Frodo's own will ultimately falters at the cracks of doom. He cannot bring himself to cast the ring in. This is a profound no to his own heroic effort, a moment of crushing failure. Yet, it is precisely at this moment of Frodo's weakness, of his no to himself, that divine providence, working through Gollum's self-destructive obsession, brings about the ring's destruction. Gollum, driven by his own twisted desires, bites off Frodo's finger and falls into the fires of Mount Doom, destroying the ring. This was a no to Frodo's conscious act of heroism, but a profound yes to the ultimate victory, achieved in an unforeseen, almost miraculous way. It highlights that God's plan is often revealed not despite our weaknesses and failures, but through them. This concept is deeply linked to what Tolkien called eucatastrophe, a word he coined. Eucatastrophe is not merely a happy ending, but a sudden, joyful turn, a good catastrophe. It's the unexpected grace, the sudden breakthrough that transforms despair into profound joy, not by denying the preceding darkness, but redeeming it. It's the moment when the music of life, which seemed to be spiraling into chaos and dissonance, suddenly resolves into a higher, more beautiful harmony, a chord we never saw coming. It's God saying no to our way, to our limited vision, only to say a resounding yes to a better way, a more glorious outcome that we, in our finite understanding, couldn't possibly have imagined or orchestrated. Tolkien himself, a man who witnessed the horrors of the Somme, who lost dear friends in the trenches, understood suffering intimately. His personal faith was robust but tested. He knew that evil and sorrow were real, chillingly present. But his theology, grounded in the Christian narrative of crucifixion and resurrection, taught him that ultimate victory often comes through apparent defeat, through the darkest no. It's the paradox of the cross, the ultimate no to human expectation, transformed into the ultimate yes to salvation. For Tolkien, even the tragic elements of his stories, like the fall of Gondolin or the doom of the Noldor, are not meaningless. They serve a purpose in a larger divine narrative, contributing to the ultimate good, allowing for the blossoming of virtues like courage, sacrifice, and enduring hope in the face of overwhelming odds. It's about how God's omnipotence and wisdom can even make the wrath of man or Melkor praise him, bending even rebellion to his ultimate design. So, what does this profound, epic tale of creation and cosmic music mean for you? For that unanswered prayer, that closed door, that persistent, painful no in your life right now? Perhaps you've been clinging to a specific outcome with every fiber of your being, desperately wanting to play a particular melody in your life's symphony, only to find your instruments are silent, or worse, playing a tune you didn't choose. Maybe you're praying fervently for a new job, sending out countless applications, only to receive a flurry of rejections, each one feeling like a stinging no. Perhaps you're longing for a partner, for a family, and loneliness persists, leading to a profound sense of disappointment and the crushing belief that your prayers are unheard. Or you might be battling a relentless illness, seeking healing, and yet the physical suffering continues, making you wonder if God has simply said no to your cries for relief. Maybe it's a broken relationship that resists all efforts at reconciliation, a dream of higher education that slipped through your fingers, or simply a pervasive feeling that life isn't unfolding according to the beautiful plan you had meticulously laid out. Tolkien's vision invites us to a radical shift in perspective. It doesn't ask us to deny the pain of the no. That pain is real, and it needs to be acknowledged. But it challenges us to trust in the ultimate conductor, Eru Iluvatar, who is always orchestrating, always composing, even when the notes sound chaotic to our ears. It challenges us to believe that even the dissonant notes, the perceived failures, the detours, the rejections are not accidental. They are not beyond God's reach or His plan. Instead, they are being skillfully, divinely integrated into a larger, more intricate, more beautiful composition than we could ever conceive. This understanding provides immense solace and hope. It means that God's no isn't a rejection of you. It might be a profound redirection. It might be a no to a lesser good you desired in favor of a greater one He intends. It might be a no to what you think you need in order to open the door to what you truly need or to what serves a higher, eternal purpose that you cannot yet see. It's about cultivating a radical, tenacious trust that even when the music sounds utterly chaotic to our finite ears, the divine composer knows precisely what He is doing, and He is always working for our ultimate good and His ultimate glory. This doesn't mean passively resigning ourselves to fate. It means actively living faithfully, continuing to love, to serve, to seek wisdom, to discern, even amidst the no. It means holding on to hope, not in a specific predetermined outcome, but in the ultimate goodness, sovereignty, and faithfulness of God Himself. It encourages us to search for the unexpected turns, the hidden blessings, the subtle new themes that God might be introducing into our lives, even through difficulty. It's about recognizing that sometimes the greatest growth, the deepest character, and the most profound blessings emerge not from ease, but from navigating the very challenges that felt like a no. Surrender is not defeat. It is the ultimate act of trust in the one who knows the full symphony of our lives from beginning to glorious end. So, the next time you face a no in your life, when a door closes with a disheartening thud, I invite you to pause. Don't immediately succumb to despair. Instead, remember Tolkien's magnificent cosmic symphony. Ask yourself, is this a final, discordant chord signaling the end of my story? Or is it merely a challenging, perhaps bewildering, movement in a much larger, more intricate, and ultimately more glorious piece that the divine composer is still actively orchestrating? Could this apparent setback, this no, be an unexpected, pivotal note that God is weaving into a far more wonderful melody for your life, one you couldn't have dared to dream of? I want to hear from you. Have you experienced a no in your life that, in retrospect, turned out to be God's loving redirection towards an unexpected yes, or led to something far better than your original plan? How has Tolkien's profound perspective on divine providence resonated with your own experiences of faith and disappointment? Share your thoughts, your struggles, and your stories of eucatastrophe in the comments below. Let's build a community of hope and encouragement, reminding each other that even when God says no, it is never, ever the end of the story. It's often just the beginning of a far grander, more beautiful, and ultimately redemptive one. If this message brought you comfort, challenged your perspective, or ignited a spark of hope, please consider sharing it with someone who might desperately need to hear it today. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to this channel for more deep dives into faith, timeless wisdom, and the transformative power of spiritual truths that can light our path in a complex world. Thank you for listening, and may you find peace in the grand symphony of God's perfect plan.